All right, hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Origins. My name is Ben Smith, your host, and I'm really happy to be back for yet another week. If this is your first time listening to the show, this episode will be a bit of a variation of the format of the show because in group chat editions, I invite some friends onto the show and I tell them a story live over Zoom here, and you'll hear their genuine reactions in the moment. They don't know the story. This is our third episode doing this type of show, and this will actually be the format of the show for the listeners for the rest of March, and then the regular shows will return in April. Tonight is special for all of us here in this virtual room because this group right here, we did a pretty good radio program back in our Chippewa Central days. And so it's a very special night to be able to share this time with you guys. And let's just go around and introduce ourselves. I'll start with Beard over here because he knows the drill, and I'll let him go.
Yeah, I think this is our third or fourth show with Ben. My name's Rich. I went to Central with all these other guys, just 1/4 of our amazing radio program we had going on there for sports. Yeah, right now I'm currently in sunny Orlando, Florida. Weather's great, golf game's improving. So yeah, that's about my life right now. Beaches and golf.
We're recording this on February 28th, and he just said he went golfing. So fuck you.
And you said it was a balmy 82.
Yeah.
Balmy 82 today, sunshine, not a cloud in the sky. It was wonderful.
I wore shorts outdoors today, so that was a thing.
Little bit of pollen, but no worries.
All right, I'll go.
We're shorts today.
Below me on the screen here is Jeff Sell. Jeff, welcome, my friend.
Oh, thank you, sir. I've been looking forward to this, like I said, all week. I live in the Metro Detroit area. Went to school with all these guys as well. I've known Ben since pretty much the second we stepped on campus back in 2007 at CMU. Like I said, we did Sports Zone together. And after about a little over 6 years spending with putting my broadcasting degree to use in television news, I made the switch about 2 years ago to, there's my wife back there. Hey, Hannah. Made the switch to public relations and been in that ever since. So life is good.
Yeah, we were gonna, the first day we met, I don't know if that was the day, but we decided we were gonna do a morning show called BJ in the Morning. And
that was really trying to get through the monotony of BCA 210 or 288, one of those two.
One of those.
And yeah, we were just in tears laughing at that.
About 20 minutes before, we were supposed to leave, so it was like.
It was an idea that's existed mostly in our heads. I don't know if station management would have been up to that one.
No. Speaking of station management, when we came in, the fourth of our group here today, the godfather of all this, I should say, who brought us all in, Andrew Keck. Andrew.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for the viewers, my name is Andrew Keck. I was the sports director at WMHW 91.5 at Central Michigan. At the time that I met most of these gentlemen, they all worked under me as sports director. And as I was the host of Sports Zone Thursday, Ben was actually my producer and co-host. And I have been incredibly lucky to have him. He was my protege back then, but to see him flourish in his post-college career has been just a fantastic thing to watch. And oddly enough, I don't know if I knew this. I met Ben. We're from the same, not quite hometown, but area in northern Michigan.
Basically.
And I met you when you were still a senior in high school at the movie theater at Petoskey Cinemas.
Yeah.
I remember very vividly my mother introducing me to you, saying you were going to be going to Central, and if I would, kind of watch out for you. So
And
do I know you longer than everybody else on this show?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think. I was on a date, I remember, and she was not super excited that I spent like 10 minutes talking to you.
yeah, out in the lobby.
I'm so excited for Central, man. It's gonna be great. And I'm like, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that's been great. And then I guess I didn't really introduce myself too terribly well. They all said what they're doing.
What town are you located in? Is there a big business in this town by chance?
I live in this like small blue collar town in Connecticut called Bristol, and my employer is like the largest, employer and company in the town, a certain television network that people are probably familiar with.
They have no idea what you're even talking about.
Yeah, no. So, we
Sports.
entertainment and sports programming. That's what we specialize in.
Yeah.
Disney.
And you're an Emmy winner.
Yes. I was. Yeah, didn't want to toot my own horn, but yes, I was fortunate to work on College Game Day for a football season back in 2016, and we won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Studio Program. So I am an Emmy Award winner, and I hope to win another sometime in the future. But
yeah, man,
it's sitting on the mantle downstairs.
Yeah, between the four of us, we have one Emmy. So
yes,
congrats to all of us. Really.
That's all of
Not
us.
bad.
25%, man.
No, that's
20%.
Central Michigan's Emmy.
We share it.
It's good odds. Good odds.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here once again. It's really special to have everyone back in this show. I was really looking forward to this particular one. I mean, I love all my shows, but having everyone back in the same at least virtual room is pretty damn cool. But let's get to the story here, guys. Once again, for the listeners at home, it's important to note. Once again, I don't tell them the story. They don't know anything. So you're going to see their genuine reactions in the moment. But I hope you're all having a great week. This is going to be coming out on March 11th. And normally I like to point out like things that have happened on this day in history. And to be honest, I think the last time we did a group chat episode, the Challenger shuttle was on the date that so it was like, I don't really. And then last year, March 11th was actually the day that the who's his face, the mic grabber Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID and immediately shut down the NBA season, which then shut down the rest of the sports world pretty much. And it was the same day that the WHO declared COVID a pandemic. So that was a year ago on our release day. So that's fun. Also on this day, WBAL TV channel 11 in Baltimore, Maryland begins broadcasting. They would later be known as CBS. And in 2018, the film Black Panther becomes the fifth Marvel film to hit $1 billion. That's all here today on March 11th when this comes out. Before we move on a little housekeeping, make sure you check out this show on YouTube where I post this video chat in its full entirety. It's also going to be obviously podcast form as well. We're on Instagram where I post my notes, photos, videos, and stuff that I use for the show. You can find that at Origins Pod on Instagram. All right, if we're ready to do this again, guys, if you have questions or comments, just fire away, interrupt me. If it gets annoying, I'll just mute you, but I don't think it will. This week, we've got what could easily be the plot to a bad Adam Sandler sports comedy. We've got ice, and it's just a really bad idea. But we start as we do every week at the beginning. And guys, you're going to like this one. This is Origins Outdoor NHL Games. Is anyone at all familiar with this story whatsoever? Do you guys know the origin of the Outdoor NHL Game?
Probably not
like
the
the
origin.
first one.
No?
Sometime back in the late 1800s, I'm assuming, when it was the Ottawa Generals.
1700s with sticks and rocks. Yeah. No, for the
I'm assuming the first game was played outside.
Right. Yeah. Well, exactly. I'll get to that in a second. But basically, I've been learning a lot. I've done a couple hockey episodes. I spoke to a hockey historian a couple times, so I am learning more about the sport. But it made me laugh because a few weeks ago, I read about the 2021 attempt at an outdoor game and how it failed miserably due to ice conditions and the weather. There was like a delay between the first and second period of like an entire workday, 8 hours, I think.
It was like 9 hours. Yeah.
It
They
was
didn't finish until like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it was after midnight.
That was
the
joyful.
sun.
I enjoyed watching and seeing all that. It was really funny. And so it made me wonder what was the first time they attempted this outdoor NHL game. And it is a story. Obviously, when hockey began in Nova Scotia many moons ago, they, of course, had to play outdoors in the winter months, which is like, I don't know, 9 months out of the year there. Northern Michigan, too, for some reason, also 9 months out of the year. Weird how that works. The first indoor hockey game, though, took place on March 3rd, 1875 at the Victoria Skating Rink in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. But obviously, it was quite a while until indoor hockey became the norm or before the NHL was even established. But let's start with a few points here. The outdoor game trend in the NHL was basically copying a game that was known as the Cold War. As two well-known college teams suited up in 2001 in what was dubbed the Cold War. Does anybody know what game I'm referring to there?
Michigan State.
You got it.
Yep.
Ended in a tie.
Yeah. I mean, nothing like a good old Cold War gag to get you going. But it was Michigan visiting Michigan State on the campus of MSU at Spartan Stadium. And on this chilly October night, the game was the first modern incarnation of an outdoor game. Obviously, it was a college game, but just under 75,000 fans attended the event, which I had to double check because I could have swore the seating was much less there at that. And it only seats 72,000. So I don't know, 3,000 people were like lapping it up, I guess. The NHL saw the success of this game. It was nuts. And I even remember watching the game back then and thinking like how cool it was that they were playing hockey outside because, I just don't really see that much. But the NHL saw it as well. And they thought they could pack a crowd of just under 75,000 people. They could definitely get a huge crowd for an NHL game. So on November 22nd, 2003, 2 years after the Cold War game, the Edmonton Oilers and the Montreal Canadiens took to the outdoor ice, calling it the Heritage Classic. And the Canadiens defeated the home team Oilers by a final 4-3 in front of a crowd of like 57,000. The temperature even got in on the fun and dropped below zero before the third period started. And this became kind of a regular event by 2008, and it has stuck around. I think 2013 was the strike year, right?
Year before. Yep.
2012. So yeah, whatever the strike year was, that's the only year they haven't done it since they started doing this game. But so this 2003 does seem to get credit as the first NHL game played outdoors, but I'm here to tell you that is false. That is not the first time an NHL team played outdoors. So, Jeff kind of mentioned before we started recording a little bit about how we're probably going to have to go back a little bit and go to like the 1800s and all that, but we won't have to go too far about that. So to hear about the first, we do have to time travel a little bit. We got to go back to 1953, but we're going to keep it right here in the great state of Michigan. In the summer of 1953, the Red Wings general manager, Jack Adams, and the captain of the Detroit Red Wings at the time, Ted Lindsay, took a tour of the Upper Peninsula on a bit of a kind of a goodwill tour. And one of the stops was a very famous prison up in Marquette. It's also known as the Alcatraz of the North, the Marquette Branch Prison. The prison, built in 1899, is still in operation, and I don't know if the whole prison thing doesn't work. I think this building definitely has a future as like a makeshift haunted house because it's fucking spooky is what it is. It's weird, man. The prison is both a minimum security prison and a level 5 prison. Kind of strange, a bit of a jump there, which basically means that people go to prison here if they have even the most minor of offenses that would like put you in prison. And the lifer is the long-term, like scary residents, if you will. They're all housed in the level 5 wing. The level 5 wing is actually built inside of the level 1 wing. So if you're level 5, you have to not only escape level 5 and the maximum security, you then have to get past level 1 as well. So basically what goes on to happen, they basically, I don't know, think of like, for this building, think of like a lair in like an 80s, 90s movie where like the evil henchman has like a lair up on a hill with a huge cliff into the water. Like that's what this prison is. It holds about 11,000 inmates. And in 1953, it held 2 particular inmates by the name of Harry Kiwo and Ray Bernstein. So these 2 guys were major Red Wings fans, and they actually met and conversed with Jack Adams in certain social circles in the 40s and 50s in Detroit. They were members of the notorious Purple Gang, which I've never heard of. Have you guys heard of the Purple Gang in Detroit?
No.
They were like a really hardcore crime syndicate in like the 20s and 30s with like bootlegging and stuff going on. But these 2 men were in this prison after being sentenced to life for the murder of 2 alleged bootleggers, Joseph Suker and Jaime Paul. So they allegedly murdered these 2, or at least the court thought they did. So the GM Adams, he recognized these 2 men as they were kind of conversing with the prisoners and kind of walking through and saying hello to everybody. For whatever reason, I still don't quite understand what they were doing there, but the 2 men recognized them and they began to converse, and they proposed a wager to Red Wings general manager, Mr. Adams there. They proposed a friendly scrimmage, their prison team that they played on versus the Detroit Red Wings. Now, it sounds like a terrible idea, and it is. if you're Adams, though, I imagine you're sitting in a prison. 2 convicted murderers asked you to come back with the rest of your team to scrimmage the prison hockey team. I mean, you don't exactly, I wouldn't say no, right? In the moment, I would say. So he said, yes, let's do this. And but he did have to give them a few stipulations if they were to come back and play this prison team that wasn't really a team, obviously. Adams, he agreed to come back with the Red Wings if the prisoners or the prison themselves could do the following things: pay for a plane to bring the Detroit Red Wings to Marquette, pay for a hotel, and pay for all their meals. He would agree to bring the Red Wings back if they could raise the funds, basically. Now, I'm sure he thought there isn't enough, like, I can't imagine there's enough like bake sales and like car washes to, raise those kind of funds. So I imagine they were pretty confident that, that wouldn't happen, that they wouldn't be able to do this. But what the Red Wings didn't count on was that the prison itself would put everything into this idea and would really want this to happen there at the Marquette prison. The Marquette prison warden was a man named Emery Jocks, and Jocks was excited that the Red Wings came to the prison. It was very much in the news. They were all very excited. And he saw that Bud Adams had agreed to the terms of this deal. So basically the buildup started to happen without the Red Wings' knowledge. The prison went out and literally hired an athletic director to run the prison athletics. Like they hired a former U of M hockey player, a guy named Leonard Brum, to come and fundraise to build a hockey rink, to create uniforms and a team name and stuff. And they spent the next year doing this. He spent his time basically doing this, and he was able to raise enough money. They built a really state-of-the-art ice rink, which I believe is still kind of there. They don't always use it anymore, but it is still there. And they now, after getting some equipment as well and some jerseys, they were considered a varsity hockey team and had their own rink, and they had their home court advantage, or home prison advantage. They played a few outside games, but wound up going 4-1-1 in those games. So they were pretty good against non-Red Wing teams. So that was all that was left, was to raise the funds to bring them all to this particular place. So the warden, Emery Jocks, reached out to a local semi-pro team, the Marquette Sentinels. And the Sentinels were like, yeah, let's do this. Let's get them here. They agreed to fully fund the plane, the food, the hotel, but part of the agreement had to be that the Sentinels would also get a match, a exhibition match against the Red Wings as well. So guys, all that was left to do was basically play this game. And I'm curious what you guys think might have gone down as we start to get close to the end game of this story. What do you guys think? Any predictions?
I think it's going to play out exactly like The Longest Yard did. And
the
the prison inmates are going to win in a shootout.
Yep.
And yeah, that's what's going to happen. Or Mystery Alaska, one of the two.
Mystery Alaska is exactly what I was thinking. It sounds exactly like what inspired that movie.
Yeah.
So
the Red Wings are going to draft a couple players.
Yeah.
Actually, I never made that connection until now. Yeah, that sounds a lot like what, at least the build up to this anyway.
I mean, think about it. They're already great fighters, right? So
yeah.
He's get a couple enforcers. I mean, the guy did some time, beat the crap out of some people,
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Well. I'm surprised when you said, when they were when Jack Adams was making his kind of list of demands and what they needed, that nowhere on that list was hey, we're going to need you to not bring your shanks and whatever kind of weapons that you made inside the prison.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Safety was not key.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, are metal detectors? I don't know. Are metal detectors even a thing at that point?
I'm sure that's no. Probably not.
Probably not.
But I'm sure
I had that shank in your skate.
Yeah, I'm sure he thought he was being, clever and saying, "Oh yeah, we'll do it, but you have to raise all the money and pay for everything," thinking there's no shot in hell.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to have known what his reaction, his genuine reaction at the time of finding out, oh, they did it, and now I've got to keep my word. I'd love to know what that reaction was.
Yeah, I've heard a few different a few different quotes and people who were like in the room when he finally got that call from the warden. It was kind of basically, it sounds like it kind of went, he was very surprised and was like, wait, what? A year, like what I said a year ago, you guys are actually going to do? Okay. Like,
it immediately makes me think of when Adam Sandler and Happy Gilmore, when he says he has the league record because he tried to take a skate off and stab a guy. And I just immediately think that like that's exactly what happened in this game. Someone just took off a skate and was like, you're done.
Yeah.
364 days till hockey season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's funny that you say, 364 days till hockey season, because what part of the best part of this whole story is that they had just finished game number 59 of the regular season when the plane and everything was scheduled. So they are literally in the midst of their regular season in 1954 at this point. And basically they said yes, that they'll come back. And like I said, it seemed as though he was very surprised and was like, well, shit, I guess we got to do this now. Because they had booked the plane, they booked the hotel, all that stuff. So during the 1954 season, just after the 59th game of the year, which was a 5-1 victory over the against Chicago, they hopped on a charter flight from Chicago and went to Marquette, straight to Marquette. And the Red Wings at this point were first in their division. And as I mentioned, still had the rest of the regular season scheduled to go. So again, I think it would have been a fun part of the story if it had turned out to be very much like a longest yard, prisoners versus guards, and like some sort of all out brawl happened. But it was actually the complete opposite that happened. It's kind of a nice way to go about this story. After the first period of play, the Red Wings were up 18-0, and the Wings held nothing back. They treated this like a regular season game, which is what it was kind of to them, because they were like, we have to be here. We're going to knock the shit out of you. And we're going to do this thing. And they truly just laid the wood down. They were at the top of the standings in the NHL and made quick work of, I should note the name of this team, the name of the prison team was the Prison Pirates.
Awesome. Oh, creativity, man.
Do with that what you will.
Awesome alliteration.
There's a lot of avenues.
They were called the PPs.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Didn't make that connection either. All right. The goalie for the Pirates had a really funny quote that I found, and he said that the only time he touched the puck was when he pulled it out of the back of the net. That was the only time. And so after the first period, the scorekeeper literally left. He was like, nah, man, you guys just have fun. And the game kind of devolved a little bit, but in kind of a fun way. And I would have thought, and I think you guys thought, there would have been some sort of like frustrating point, like a boiling point where they're like, fuck the Red Wings, we're going to ruin their season. But they were huge fans of the Wings. They knew they were in the middle of the regular season. In a way, it's kind of strategic that huge fans in this prison team that like live to see the Red Wings be successful. I mean, they wouldn't try to like ruin the season at all by just playing a prison game, if you think about it. But it was the complete opposite. The Red Wings began to, after that first period, kind of trade players. The Wings goalie, along with Alex Delvecchio and Sid Abel, they all swapped teams. So they went to go play for the Pirates and bailed out of the Red Wings team. And one particular prisoner actually swapped jerseys with a Red Wing, and the prisoner became a Red Wing for a moment, and he was on the same line as Ted Lindsay and the late great Gordie Howe.
Oh,
Very cool.
Awesome.
Crazy. That's very cool.
So
did he get a ring after the season ended?
Yeah, that's coming.
Okay, I was going to say, because I had to go back and double check, like they won the cup that year.
Yeah. Yeah. This is in the middle of one of their Stanley Cup runs, which is even more incredible if you think about it. So again, they had this amazing moment where I think if this was like a Disney Plus movie, this is how it would play out. And, it wouldn't be like an R-rated PG-13 Adam Sandler film. I think if this was like a Disney Plus, this is how it would play out. And this is actually how it played out. It was only described as like a delightful afternoon, like from all the players and everyone involved. after kind of that inner squad scrimmage, if you will, all the men, they couldn't stop talking about it. They just all started playing the game they loved. They like brought more guys over to the Red Wings and switched sides, and it was really cool. But the prisoners especially loved Ted Lindsay, because so far that regular season, he led the league in penalties, and the prisoners thought that anyone who was, sentenced to as much time in the penalty box as Lindsay, he was kind of their type, if you will. So
the honorary inmate.
An honorary inmate, yeah.
Terrible Ted, welcome back.
Yeah, exactly. So they equated his time in the penalty box to like doing real time. So it was pretty cool. But at the end of the day, no official score was counted. The local Marquette paper did say it was a 5-2 game, but I don't know who the hell told them that. It was definitely not at all. I mean, I don't think the other team scored. I don't think the prisoner team scored. Warden, there's a good part. The Warden Jocks awarded the Red Wings a trophy of sorts as like a thank you to them. It was the Doneker Trophy, which was just a bucket that was actually used by inmates to just like piss into. Like that's what they had to give them. They're like, cool, thanks, man. So real classy. So I mentioned that the Sentinels, the local minor league team, paid for the Red Wings to come. So they then had to the next day go play the minor league team, the Sentinels, as part of this deal. And I believe the Wings would go on to win 16-6 that particular game, but I think it wasn't as fun or as exciting as the other one for when the Wings came to town. And again, as Jeff mentioned, this was a Stanley Cup winning team eventually, but after the 59th game, before the 60th game, they went to Marquette, played a prison team. It was like a scrimmage of sorts, spent a few days in Marquette, and then skedaddled back and would eventually go on to win the 1954 Stanley Cup, taking down the defending Montreal Canadiens in 7 games. And that, gentleman, is the true story of the first outdoor game played by an NHL team. And it just so happens to come from not only our hometown team, but the eventual Stanley Cup champions, and of course, everyone's other favorite hockey team, the Marquette Prison Pirates. So that was the origins of the outdoor NHL game.
Do we have I'm interested to see what the headline in the local Marquette paper was, like, Red Wings pump Prison Pirates 16-2 awarded. Yeah. Whatever you want the thing to pee in afterwards.
The Doneker Trophy is what it was. Definitely wasn't that pan.
I want a Prison Pirates hat now. That sounds amazing. I
want to know, like, if you look at their jersey, I mean, it just looks like a wool jersey, kind of, like all the old like football teams had and that kind of stuff. So it literally just says Pirates on it. Like,
love it.
It almost
my collection here.
I know.
It almost sounds like this is something that would be like, doesn't it sound, obviously not playing a prison team, but just traveling wherever, like it'd be something you do like during the All-Star break or something like that. Like, hey, you know what? We've got a couple days off. But the fact that, like you said, this was right after they left Chicago, got on a plane, went to Marquette, and then played those 2 games back to back because, the season obviously was, I don't know if it was still 82 games back then, but they played all the same teams all the time, kind of like they're doing now. And like, it was probably nice to break up that monotony a little bit too, of playing those same teams over and over again.
But could you imagine, like, modern day?
I was just about to say
at all.
Twitter would be #1 trending topic.
The players would want nothing to do with it because we're already playing so many games. The wear and tear, absolutely not.
Right. And that was the thing, is like they like so it was Ted Lindsay and the general manager. And apparently when they left, there was kind of like we'll never see them again kind of thing. And so when Ted Lindsay actually went, he went there thinking like he had to like, puff his chest out and really take down a few guys. But it was like the absolute opposite of that. And he became one of the Prison Pirates by the end of the day. So they all respected each other. They all had a lot of fun. They had a nice big meal afterwards. Like, it was just this crazy. I imagine it looked a lot like the Andy Dufresne and beer at the top of the roof in Shawshank.
Love it. Yeah.
Yes. At least I like to think that's how it went. Like, they're all just like, yeah, we played a good game.
I Googled to see what their jerseys look like, and I
Right.
came across like a fun little fact. I don't know if you said it or not, so I apologize for that. But apparently Terry Sawchuk left the net midway through the first period to sign autographs during the game, and the other team couldn't score.
Yeah.
So I just like imagine like him just skating over, just signing autographs while a full hockey game is going on still in the background.
Like, I wonder what 1955 is going to be like.
It's like that episode.
Get in your DeLorean.
It's like that time with Mighty Ducks 2 or whatever, when they're just dominating and Cat's back in goal, like, got nothing to do.
Oh yeah, she's like skating in circles, just like,
Yeah.
oh, man,
It's kind of like that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
come on, guys. Get a
it's
shot on
crazy.
goal.
Like I imagine like how this hasn't already been a movie. I know like Longest Yard is like, prisoners versus the the guards.
Yeah, but they win though. Like, how do you change the story from being down 18-0 and turn it into like a happy ending? Like,
right. Yeah.
What do you do with that? Like,
I don't know.
Glory Road, they win
know.
at the end. Like all those Disney movies, they win at the end. And like you just got the prison guys just being like, man, we're down 18-0. Just stop keeping
Put
score.
some, I don't know, put Hans Zimmer in that bit and get some good music.
It's
couple explosions. Let's just turn it into Michael Bay directs it. Let's just go, man. Let's just have a bunch of brutal hockey fights, like just some skate brawls.
Yeah.
Michael Bay can work it. Some explosions, exploding hockey pucks.
No,
We got
but
it.
yeah, Michael Bay directs it, but no explosions are allowed.
Oh, can you imagine what he has to work with off the shores of Lake Superior? Oh man, he would just be going crazy.
He's like, I'm gonna bring an Autobot here next transfer. Like they're gonna
from the ice
inside of this
Michigan.
prison and blow it up. Oh, for sure.
Transformers 6. That's all it is.